As we begin this new year and maybe some new writing projects, I thought that it would be a good idea to talk about what is a good writing day. Diana Gabaldon, the author of the Outlander series, once said that a good day is when you get words on a page and a bad day is when you don't. So as authors, we want to have more of those good days. And what I'd like to do today is talk about how to have more good days and maybe redefine what a good day is so that we can have a successful writing year. So let's get started.
You have a story to tell, but you don't know where to start. Let me show you how to free your story. I teach you how to write and how to dig deep in your soul to release your story and make a difference in the world.
Welcome to the Julia Monta channel and to this new year. I'm really excited to be here. I am a women's fiction author. I write romance and women's fiction. And I also teach writing. So you will find a video from me every Friday. I encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you'll be notified when my videos go up. So let's get started with talking about what a good writing day looks like. Now, I agree with Gabaldon that a good writing day is when we sit down at our computer and get words on the page. Now, what she didn't say is that they have to be good words. So it doesn't mean that we're writing flawlessly, that everything is wonderful, that we have hours and hours to dedicate to our writing, that no one's going to bother us, that the dog is not going to get sprayed by a skunk, that the kids are not going to want to you to cook for them, right? Or whatever it is that they want. She didn't say that all those things are not going to happen. She also didn't say that the writing had to be great. She just said getting words on the page. And that's one thing I want you to remember. It's not that perfect words. It's not that everything is flowing perfectly. It's that you are sitting down and you're doing your writing. So let's redefine what we mean by a good day. So the first thing is that you show up and you write. All the words count, even the ones that are not flawless. They all count if you're getting words on the page, if you're thinking about your story, if you're making progress. Later on, we can worry about polishing or taking things out, but sitting down and writing is what's important. Now, recently, I was looking at revising one of my stories. So I wrote a number of novels for a publisher years ago, and they purchased these novels. So I had a contract, they bought the novels, these were due to be published. And the line died. They ended up not continuing with the line. So everything they'd bought for that line from many authors, not just from me, ended up being shelved. And eventually later, the authors that asked for the rights to be reversed, and we got our rights back. So I was looking at this old novel, and I'm talking very old, like almost 20 years ago. And as I read it, I thought, I can't believe that the publisher actually bought this and thought that this was good writing. I can't believe that I thought it was good writing. And it's not that the story is bad. The story is really good. There's conflict. There are all the things that you know are supposed to be part of the story, right? We have character arcs. I have conflict. I have a resolution. I have a romance in there. I have all the things that are necessary, but just the actual writing, the sentences that are there, the word choices, those, in my opinion now, 20 years later, are not good. But at the time, I thought they were good. And at the time, the publisher thought it was good. But now with fresh eyes of the future, as I look at this, I don't like it and I would like to rewrite it. However, if I hadn't shown up, if I hadn't written this story years ago, first of all, publisher would have never bought it. Second of all, I wouldn't have it now to look at and revise and modernize it or whatever I want to do with this story. So showing up, getting the work done, writing it, and being willing to put those words on a page, that's important. That's a good writing day. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is show up. Part two of having good writing days is to embrace the writing process. The writing process is a messy process. It's not one where you sit down and you write perfectly and it comes out exactly the way that you imagined it in your mind. It'd be great if that happened, right? It'd be wonderful if it actually got to the page exactly the way that it's playing in our mind. And for some reason it doesn't. And maybe it has to do with everything else that goes on in our life, right? So if we are having stressful days, when we are having those challenging days where we're dealing with family issues or work issues or other things that could be impacting our creativity, it could be impacting our thoughts about the story, and we end up with imperfect writing. But that's part of the process, just getting those words on the page, then rethinking it, editing it, coming back to it, changing things, realizing that maybe the reason it wasn't working is because we needed to add a certain subplot or we needed to do something different. So we have to embrace the fact that writing is not perfect and we're not perfect. And we have to stop beating ourselves up for not writing it perfect the first time, or even for not being as productive as we'd like. We might want to write 10 pages, but if we sit down and we write 1 or 2 pages, that might be good enough for that day. As long as we come to understand that this is what writers do, this is what we do. We write imperfectly, we revise, we make it better, and we have to go through that writing struggle in order to get that perfect manuscript or to get that book looking the way that we imagine it. So embrace the writing process, don't fight it, don't worry about it if things aren't perfect. Just write every day, get the story down. We can fix it later if it's not what you want it to be when you first write. All right, now let's talk about bad writing days. If the good writing days involves getting pages written, not judging yourself, going through the process, and getting the words on the page, then the bad writing days are the days when we don't do that. When for whatever reason, we allow the outside world to stop us from getting those words on a page. And we all have those days. We have those days where we have to work late, or somebody in our family gets sick, or something happens and we just, have work. By the time we realize that 20 hours have gone by, we need to get at least 4 hours sleep. We just can't write. It happens to everyone. It happens to me every time at this time of the year because I'm a university professor. I have to grade final exams. I have to turn in grades. I have to finish up the semester. I have to get ready for the holidays. Everybody has those same issues. So as I end one year, it's usually very stressful, and it's hard to have those good writing days where you can sit down and write. But the problem with those days, if you have one of those days, just a random day where you just can't write, it's not going to hurt you. Okay, we all have those bad days, like I just said. However, what happens a lot of times with those bad writing days is they multiply. So yesterday, I didn't get the writing done. And so today I'm catching up with some other things, and I'm not going to be able to get the writing done, but I will do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow something happens and it continues. And before you know it, it's been a month and you haven't written. And it's harder and harder to get back to a project if you've let a lot of those days go by. It's also really easy to justify not writing. It's easy to say, well, I've had a lot of bad days and I have been sick and I have had a lot of work and I have whatever, right? But we can also agree that we don't have to spend an entire hour, right? Getting some words on the page. Remember, they don't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be a full page. Sitting down for 15 minutes, sitting down for a little bit of time and doing this will continue the habit of writing that you have hopefully built. It will continue the progress of your story. It will tell your mind that no matter what, I have to do this. Just like every day I have to exercise, just like every day I have to eat. Every day I have to put some words on a page. So try to make those bad writing days be the ones that absolutely you can't write. You can't even get those 15 minutes. You can't have any time. You don't have any time at all. But if you can just dedicate a little bit of time, that will be a good writing day. Not a perfect one, but it will be a good writing day, and you'll continue making progress on your story. So as we begin this new year, I wanted you to celebrate every good day and to try to have more good days than bad days. And those good days, remember, are not when you are writing brilliantly. Those are great days. Those are the dream days, right? We don't have very many of those either. Just like we shouldn't have too many really horrible days where we don't get any writing done, it's probably not, you're probably not going to have those brilliant dream days a lot either. You're not going to have those days where you can write 20, 25 pages. Nobody bothers you. You've gotten to spend the whole weekend alone just with you and your story. That hopefully happens a lot, but a lot of times, if we're honest with each other, that doesn't happen very often. So don't wait for the great days. Have the good days where you get words on a page, and try to limit those bad days where you don't write anything at all. And I hope that this is a wonderful, productive beginning to the new year. And I hope that you'll join me here for the entire year to get more tips and to learn more about writing. I will share what I can. I hope to have this year maybe some more author interviews. I think those are a lot of fun, and I think that you learn from other writers, not just from listening to me. So I'm going to try to get more writer interviews this year, and share in the comments anything that you would like me to talk about this year. I'm happy to create videos on to answer questions that you might have. All right, thank you for being here. Happy New Year, and I'll see you next week.